But by the 70s, by 73 or 4,
anything else you want to do in here? What's that? I want to get some coffee.
Stanford was teaching there,
for some reason,
called Sunshine, and they started working on generating the first prototypes for TCP/IP. So,
right. Yeah, but they were already working on protocols here, RFCs. But the framework, the intellectual
framework was, but the thing is, the intellectual framework was a lot of places.
Well, that's true.
I mean, you had people involved from MIT, people involved from BBN, people involved from SRI, people involved from here.
And Paul Barron before all of that.
Well, you know, people involved in packaging, like Paul Barron and others. Now, the one story that's always kind of fun is the number of times you'll find stories that say that the ARPANET was developed to build a network that survived nuclear war, which had nothing to do with the truth.
Right. Well, I think people conflate, I think people confuse that with, Barron's task was to try and see if he could do
to build a phone network.
Yes, exactly.
That survived that.
Yeah, so I think people get that confused up.
And eventually a command and control network.
Yes. Plus, of course, ARPA was defense funded. So.
Was defense funded, but they were mostly, a lot of what they were doing was, in fact, years later, the reason they changed the name ARPA to DARPA, because somebody in Congress discovered, why is ARPA funding all this general research when it should be funding defense-only stuff?
Right.
Now, they recognize that ARPA, that computers are important to defense, but a lot of the stuff they were funding didn't have a direct defense, it wasn't like, you're going to build a satellite, or you're going to build, so...
Well, I mean, analog to that, Taylor says that when he was at Xerox PARC later on, the people at Xerox told him, computers are fine, but they're never going to be as important as copiers.
Right, exactly.
That's so funny.
That's why we don't have Xerox Altos or its follow-ons.
Right, exactly.
We do in the form of the Mac and Windows, but not because Xerox was smart enough to take it.
Yeah.
When did they put this wall here?
That wall is actually not exactly where it was. This wall got added at some point, and because this room used to go that way several feet. And the Sigma 7, if you see any pictures of it, was about a half a dozen cabinets. The tape drives were on a different side of the room. The disk drives, you'll love the Sigma 7 was this way. The disk drives
was up against
we had these vertical disk drives. They called them RADs, rapid random access storage devices. Okay, they spun vertically. They had fixed heads. They had one head per track, and they go sequence. This big disk drive. This big disk drive held 6 megabytes of storage and occupied a cabinet. And we had 4 of them, so we had 24 megabytes of storage.
You can do anything with that.
I ran, the time zone system with 16 users on that 24 megabyte of storage.
Is the paint color correct?
The paint color of the room? I don't recall. I don't think so, but I don't recall.
It's kind of wild.
I don't think it was this one. For today, I wasn't for that question, no. Because walls move, things change, equipment leaves, whatever. It's lucky that Kleinrock was able to save the unit. I mean, 6-7's long gone. And who knows?
Well, Mark can tell you about, the ceremony when they lost their sex and became units.
Yeah.
Which they actually
we had called the timeshare executive, which we nicknamed Sex. So it was the sex system was the name of the timeshare system we had developed. And in fact, one of the guys has a manual. I think somebody still got a copy of Beginner's Guide to Sex, which is the beginner's guide of how to use the operating timeshare system. I think somebody's got a copy of that.
Just right from board.
Engineers much too busy for the real thing.
All right, take a picture. I was going to say,
Slightly.
Sorry, it works, yeah. I first met you when you were working up in the engineering, weren't you working in the engineering?
I started in CF in 79.
Yeah, but before that, were you? No,
Before that, I was unhappily married.
Okay, and I'm thinking of somebody else. Yeah. There was a lady that worked up in the engineering student's office.
5th floor.
5th floor or 6th. She was much older.
Esther said to say hello.
Esther Weiss.
Yeah, she emailed me this morning.
Esther Weiss, that's who.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, she emailed me. She's like,
She's working
can't come.
in the graduate
Yeah.
in the student's
Yeah.
office up there on the 5th.
So I told her to take the picture. And I got an email from Anita this morning.
Check that teletype, remember the teletype,
Yeah.
was the one used to drive the imp itself,
Yeah.
right?
Well, there was one for the M, and then we had several around the Sigma 7.
Yeah,
And then
right.
later we got terminal, display terminals.
Yeah.
When they became available.
But those
Before
are the
that,
ones I remember.
We started with teletype.
Teletype.
And the Sigma 7's operator teletype was a modified 35, a slightly different model. And then we had a couple of 37s, which were upper lower case.
Yeah, I never got beyond the 33.
Yeah, I remember the
And I took,
37.
and when we got the display terminals, I think so we didn't need the, I took one of the 37s home. The thing weighed 300 pounds.
Did you do it by yourself?
No, but I took home a 37, so I had a terminal at home.
Yeah.
How is this room going to be used after this wonderful kickoff?
I have no, I think it's going to turn it into a museum, I don't know. Originally, as I say, this wall was here, this one that way. I think that wall was a couple feet either this way or that way, I don't remember. They reconfigured the floors over the years. This used to be a false floor.
Elevated floor for the air.
It was at this level, there was a subfloor. This is now permanent. The floor was at this level, there's a subfloor of about 3 feet for the air conditioning.
Yeah, cabling and air plant on the
Right.